Hi everybody! Today I'm going to be doing a really fun collaboration video with Mia's virtual Vanity, and I will have all of her info linked down below. She is wonderful. She's actually one of my absolute favorite people to follow on Twitter. Just a little side note there. So also follow her on Twitter as well as go check out her YouTube channel. She is such an incredibly smart person and I love listening to her talk. She knows so much about so many things, and she does a really cool series on her channel, which is one part shop your stash and one part art inspiration. So she kind of takes you through products that she picked based off of a painting and then talks a little bit about themes relating to that painting and other things. So my knowledge when it comes to art is very narrow. I could talk your ear off when it comes to landscape paintings and very specific little niche things in there, but other than that, I just take inspiration from paintings and stuff that is abstract and stuff that has, you know, people in it. In this case, we picked a photo. Well, she suggested a bunch, which was really inspiring to see, and I'm sure I'll end up going back to some of those things that she sent me initially as well. But the one that we ended up deciding on is a painting called Vanity. It is from a French painter, Auguste Toulmouche, and this is from 1860. So I think that's what it said. So I will have the image up here as well so you can see what it looks like. And I have a few things I want to talk about in relation to this, but the main colors that caught my eye were the pink of the dress and then that very cool bronzy gold of the table and then the mirror frame. So I thought that I would do a modern interpretation of what my makeup style used to be. So back kind of the last year or two of high school and for most of university, my staple everyday makeup look was pink lips, gold eyeshadow, like black eyeliner, very minimal everything else. But I want to kind of do a little bit more of what I would like to do now, which includes a lot more blush and some lashes and just kind of, I just want to explore that sort of angle a little bit, and that's what I got from this photo was those pink shades and that gold. So there's a lot of possible inspiration in this, but that's just where my mind went. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the concept of naming things like this Vanity, which I remember a quote that I came across probably on Tumblr at some point. Now I'm also, I'm not doing the shop your stash kind of portion like Mia does because I don't know how to do that kind of setup. I have looked, I've tried finding kind of tutorials and I've asked people who do those kind of videos showing, like, I don't know how they do it. I just don't, I can't figure it out, and I've tried and I've failed. Like I've tried so many times to set stuff up so that you just have that image of my hands moving things. I can't do it. So I would like to learn. If anybody knows other YouTubers who do that sort of like overhead style and could get them to respond to me to help me, I would be very, very appreciative, because I wanted to do some of those like shop your stash kind of things and like swatching products and like reorganizing my Natasha shadows, which is one I did try and film and couldn't figure out how to get the setup right. So I would love to be able to do that because I'd love to be able to add in little things like that. If I've never done it myself and I've never seen anybody do it, I have a very hard time kind of figuring it out. Like I really need to see how somebody else does something in order to find out how it works for me. So anyway, I decided to start with an eyeshadow primer, which I haven't done a lot recently, but I'm using my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer. And I have a basket of stuff in front of me. So I'm gonna next go in with a MAC Strobe Cream because I really need some hydration in my skin and I really want to feel a little bit glowy because I get that radiance feeling from that image as well. And I never really did like moisturizer, much more than moisturizer back when I would have been priming my face well, I don't think I even had any vague idea of what a face primer was. I would occasionally use moisturizer, if that. Now I feel like I'm so dry, and I've got skin issues, and I've got all that fun stuff happening for me, so I took my makeup off from earlier, but I still feel like I didn't quite get it off. I have a little breakup, like right in the worst part of my chin. Like, I hate it. It's just so awkward. It's an awkward spot, so. Anyway, MAC Strobe Cream for that little bit of glow. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the whole thing of calling something vanity. Now again, this is a male painter painting a woman and calling it vanity. And I kind of feel like as a whole, we've kind of progressed a little bit from that, you know, just a little bit. But I do feel like there is still this pushback when you have self-love, or you admire the way that you look. So kind of like this painting, you know, I feel like it is kind of exaggerated in a way. Like, it's a very beautiful woman who's clearly, you know, very well off, and she is admiring her reflection in the mirror and kissing herself. So it's kind of like she, you know, she loves herself, but I don't feel like that's such a grand statement anymore. Like, it shouldn't be. So I'm using the VDL Lumilayer Primer Fresh to give that extra, again, glow to the skin. And I just need that to set for a second because it's a little tacky right now. But, you know, I hope anyway that we're getting kind of past that. It's one of the things that I'm working on myself, because I do tend to be self-deprecating, and you know, it can be funny and everything, but sometimes I'm really harsh on myself and I don't even realize it. I don't hear myself saying it. I don't hear, like in a video, let's say, I don't hear myself when I'm editing. I don't hear or acknowledge it until it's pointed out to me by somebody else, where they're like, whoa, maybe you could be a little kinder to yourself. And I'm like, wow, you know what? I didn't even realize, like, it's just the way that I speak sometimes. So something that I'm trying to be cautious of and conscious of, because I don't think that there's anything wrong with having some kind of affection for yourself. And it can be really hard to build that up. It can be really difficult to get to a point where you are even comfortable doing that. And like, I feel like I've had my moments, and as I've talked about before, like doing YouTube and just being on social media as more than just like an anonymous person has hurt me in some ways, and these are ways that I'm trying to get over. So I just use a green color corrector. This is from Au Naturale. It is the Sweet Basil color corrector. And then I just picked up the LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer in pink. I think it's just pink. Cool pink corrector, because I ran out of my Becca under eye corrector. So I picked this up at Walmart for like $4. So I thought that I would give this a shot, and I have used it already a couple times and I really do like it. It's not as pink as I would like it to be. Like, I wish it was just a tiny bit darker, but I find that it does the trick for brightening my under eyes, which is really what I need the most help with. And yes, I'm putting a lot on today because I feel very, very tired and very, very purple. But yeah, so anyway, I was talking about how it's kind of affected me a little bit. I feel like it's really easy just to take the things that other people say to heart. It doesn't mean that it's true, but it's hard to believe that, I guess, sometimes. I'm using the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude True to Skin Natural Glow Foundation, and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the L'Oreal True Match Lumi, the ice. I'm trying to squeeze some out there. I'm making good progress in this product for my project pan, but I struggle with it because I feel like there'll be so many times when I will feel good about something and express that, and then have people fight me on it. And what I mean by that is saying, like, let's say I really like the way that my makeup turns out in a video or in an Instagram post or something, and I'm feeling pretty good about it, and I'm like, yeah, you know, you know, when you have those sort of confident times when you like manage to get the right photo or even just the right angle or something, you know, you got that winged liner down or something just looks good and you're like, yeah, that's good. And I'll have those moments where I'll express that. And I'll say it's not so much anymore. This seems to have stopped a little bit. So hopefully people are kind of, you know, maturing and getting out of it a little bit. But I would say something like that, like, oh yeah, I really like, you know, the way that my makeup looks, or I really like the way that my hair looks today or something. And I'd be met with someone being like, but actually, and pointing out every flaw they could think of and comparing me to other people. And that's one thing that I've never got when it comes to self-love. Like, if you are loving yourself and you are not tearing anybody else down, like, why should you be compared to somebody else? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, unless I open that conversation, like if I say like, oh my god, my makeup looks so good, I look so much better than this person, then yeah, that opens it up for the people to be like, maybe not, or whatever, you know, where people don't even have to comment on it, right? Like, my opinion of myself really shouldn't affect anybody else. Like, what does it matter to somebody else if I think that I'm attractive, if I think that I have good makeup skills, or that I like the way that my hair looks today or whatever? Like, why does that matter to somebody else? But that's the thing with the internet, is that you express this kind of, oh, I like the way that this looks on me, I like the way that this turned out, etc., etc. And then there'll be people who like will just be there to kind of take you down a peg, which I don't feel like is always necessary or very helpful. Like, yeah, I don't doubt that there's definitely narcissists and stuff around who are very self-absorbed and truly mean that they are better than other people, but I don't think that like the average person really is out there thinking like, oh yeah, I'm so much better. So it's one thing that I'm working on and trying to just ignore those people who may be critical of certain aspects of the way that I look, and that it doesn't really matter what they think. And it's hard. It truly is hard. Like, I know I am very guilty of still, like, I kind of want to beat people to the punch, so to speak, which is why I will be so hesitant to say kind of kind things about myself, for fear that somebody will come in and jump in and be like, hey, actually. So if I say like the mean things to myself first, then it's like people can't touch me in a way. And I feel like it did for a while kind of stop people from saying stuff because they weren't saying anything that I wasn't already saying about myself. But that's no way to live. And it sucks when stuff like that gets in your head, when you're like, oh, I feel good about this, or you've expressed it, and just to have somebody say like, well, you know, you're not as talented as X person, you're not as pretty as so-and-so, you don't have beauty pageant hair, or whatever. There's a few people I get compared to who do similar videos that I do who are probably objectively, you know, a lot prettier than I am. And I'm not saying that again, like I'm conscious of it, I'm aware of it, but you know, we're talking about like a literal beauty queen in one scenario, and like people who just, they are very pretty, and there's nothing against that, and I'm not comparing myself to them, it's just other people are comparing me to them, and then that ends up making me feel bad. It's like, why can't you compare me to myself, you know? You don't have to compare me to somebody else. Like, I'm never going to look like that. I'm not going to be that person, but I am me. And if anything, compare me to how much I have grown and changed over the last couple of years, and not comparing myself to what other people have done. I think it's an interesting thing to talk about, so I just used a little bit of Brow Wiz. Back in the day, eyebrows would not have been touched, but eyebrows are one of those things that I feel like I have to do now. It's one of those things that does make me feel confident, and especially like going out now, I feel like there's not a lot of emphasis on lip area. Like, if your face is covered by a mask, then you want to have a little more going on up here. And I feel like as long as I have my brows on, even if I don't have eyeshadow on, if I have like brows and mascara on and I know I'm going to be out somewhere and I have my mask on, it's totally fine. So this is the palette I'm going to be using today. This is the Secret palette from NABLA, which was sent to me, and I'm so excited. I love it so much, and I've been playing a little bit. You can probably see some of the usage on some of these shades. Like, not a lot of usage. I've only been using it for the last couple of days, but I want to use this Creation Crown Shadow. So I did use that, and it's part of the reason why this palette really kind of inspired me for this, because of this shade, which does remind me a little bit of a gold shade that I really, really loved using when I was like 18, 19-ish, which was actually like a loose powder shadow from, I think, LA Girl, which I just loved using, and I would apply from like my lash line to basically my brow bone. And just the gold shadow, nothing else. So I kind of want to pay tribute to that with as much gold as I can possibly get on my eye. I don't know why sometimes it's women who are the most vocal against like other women. Like it really is kind of surprising to me, because I call out bad behavior and bullshit like that, but like other than that, I don't understand why people are so critical of like a person's appearance or their opinions of themselves, right? Like if someone's feeling confident and good in like their own skin, why does somebody feel like they need to comment on it to try and take them down? Like it really does not make a whole lot of sense to me. I feel like Mia is really good about encouraging people. Like I see that a lot on her Twitter especially. Like she's such an engaging person and she's so supportive of people. Actually, I feel like that's a lot of what I've been seeing lately on Twitter, is a lot of people being more supportive and just very kind to each other, which I guess is like kind of difficult in like a YouTube kind of space, because people are so spread out, and it's different like interacting with a video than like interacting with somebody's content somewhere else, which is why I also think that it's very important to support creators on other platforms, and it's just like a better way to engage with some people than with just a video. Yeah, like I appreciate that. I think that's one of those things that drew me to Mia's personality, was just how kind she is to people and how inclusive she is. Like for me, I find that it's very genuine. Like there's some people who will claim to include people but they don't, and Mia is just like, she's so honest, but she will also tell you like it is, and I appreciate that too, because I feel like a lot of people can get in their head when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially when you have people pulling you in different directions. Like that's something that I've talked about before when it comes to, you know, a doing content, is that I love doing something, somebody might hate that I do it, or somebody else might really love that I do something, so I'm trying to make sure that I include a specific type of content that people like, and somebody else hates it. So then while you're making one person happy, you're kind of making somebody else a little annoyed because they don't want to see that come up. I mean, I don't get it personally. Like I've never felt super entitled to a creator's time in that way. Like if they're making something, a video that I don't like, I don't watch. And you know, if it comes down to enough times that I've skipped over, then maybe I would consider unsubscribing. But most of the time it's just like, well, you know, I want them to grow too. I want them to be able to enjoy the things that they are doing or the things that people are recommending. And I feel like, you know, Twitter is a place that people kind of get onto and vent a little bit and express frustrations, and I know I certainly do, and I've expressed some of my feelings of the beauty community and stuff. I just have a lot of gold on right now, and I rimmed my eyes with black liner. I used mascara from Pixi and the black eyeliner from Pixi as well. Highlight a little bit. I feel pretty good about that. So I'm gonna go into some blush next. I brought out my Fairy and Clown blush palette from Like Makeup, and that is what I'm going to dive into first for some serious blush. Normally, like back in the day, it would have been like the gold eyeshadow, black eyeliner, maybe mascara if I even remembered, and like a pink lip with my foundation face, and definitely no blush. Definitely no blush, definitely no other kind of face products unless I was feeling kind of shimmery. I'm so glad to have rediscovered the love of blush. I don't mind looking like a clown. Although this is the Fairy palette anyway. I feel like my younger self would have loved this. Like every now and then there's little moments when it comes to products I use and techniques, and I just have that thought of like somewhere 16-year-old Elle is very, very excited that this is happening. Because I loved playing with makeup, but there were certain things that, you know, you just didn't do. And I don't, you know, and at the time when I was a teenager, makeup really wasn't the kind of big deal that it is now. You know, we didn't have makeup appearing on different social media things, you know, like people would put makeup on for their like fancy MySpace selfies or for like random live journal photo shoots or whatever, but it was never like it was now, and I just feel like I would have loved that a lot. So I am just experimenting with some of these blush shades and just bringing it up high. I'm really layering a lot of the pink together because I really wanted to have that pink reference that I love so much. I almost feel weird when I'm wearing less blush these days because I feel so comfortable with so much blush on my face, for real. I shopped my stash for a little mini of Champagne Pop from Becca because I thought that golden sort of highlighted glow. I do have my contour palette here from Too Faced, so I figure I'll just try and give a little bit of definition to my cheekbones a little bit more. Use the wrong brush. Well, it's not the same brush that I would normally use. This is my bronzer brush. I'm just gonna soften that a little bit so it doesn't look too much like Neapolitan ice cream. For lips, I'm just taking a neutral lip, since I still have my MAC lipsticks around me from my lip swatch video. I'm just using the Samantha Ravndahl lipstick because I feel like that's pink enough without competing too much. I kind of wanted to do some nose blush. I feel like it's very cutesy, but I feel like my younger self would have done the nose blush for sure. Just feel like I need a little bit more highlight. There's something about this that's not quite hitting me right, so I'm just going back in with the eyeshadow and blending it up even further. I feel like that's kind of what I was missing, was just having the shadow up so high. I'm sorry if a lot of my looks end up repetitive these days. It's just what I've been feeling. I just saw this Too Faced lipstick sitting in front of me, Miss Thing, with that little bit of, with that reflective, like slightly frosted kind of sheen, which was definitely something I was into, and I had a few frosty pink lipsticks in the early 2000s. Honestly, I just love lashes. Like, I feel like a completely different person once I get the big lashes on. RIP camera battery once more. So I put on the other lash and then I thought, you know what, I need some glitter. This hasn't taken really like direct inspiration from the photograph, except for the pink and the gold. I could have incorporated some of the other colors, but like I said, I really wanted to do that sort of modern inspiration. So I actually have found, once again, my holographic glitter from Lit Cosmetics in Cher. And I think I said this one time that it was like, if I could give my younger self one gift, it would probably be this glitter. Because nobody would appreciate a holographic glitter named Cher more than my 16-year-old self. I feel like it kind of also works with the mirror holographic kind of thing, so I'm just putting a little bit underneath. And by a little bit, I mean a lot, but you know. There we go. I dragged down a little bit of the glitter right in sort of the center. Make it a little bit different than some of the things I've been doing recently, and something that I feel like is very true to inspiration from the artwork and also inspiration from how I used to do my makeup and how, I mean, I still and forever will love glitter, but I just feel like this is it. This is it. This is the thing right here. I also got my Luke's Diner Gilmore Girls earrings in. I love it. Okay. So anyway, that is everything for this look. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to go check out Mia's virtual vanity, and I will have her info linked down below. So please, please go and say hello to her. Thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging out with me. I really, truly appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.